Right. So that actually ends up from the secure coding perspective. Okay, there's around 30-45 minutes that we touched upon that. So now let's move on to from general IT to cyber security. Why there is a easy way out over here. We have 100 plus participants over here from different parts of Malaysia, as well as from a different department, predominantly from IT. So if you are an IT guy who is already in the IT department, there's a huge advantage when you actually upskill yourself with cybersecurity, because you will understand a whole lot of information about the current infrastructure, right? And you know the total networking concept, you know the total IT infrastructure and all the different devices and how they work. So it's easier for you to upskill yourself into cybersecurity, to attach the view of cybersecurity, how to see every device now from a vulnerability perspective, and how to compromise them is the only thing that you need to add on to it. Once you understand the offensive side, you will also have to now understand the defensive side of how to protect it. Okay, so that's the whole concept. For those who are starters, who are not an IT department, nothing wrong in wherever you are, guys. It's very easy to port you from wherever you are into cybersecurity field. But before that, let me give you some statistics of what's happening out there. Okay, the cybersecurity unemployment rate is at 0% in 2019, where it's been for the past 8 years. This is for APAC, guys. I'm not talking about worldwide. I'm talking about APAC numbers here. The cybersecurity unemployment rate is at 0% in 2019, where it's been for the past 8 years. So cybersecurity has always been a good place to start your career. Everyone who finished cybersecurity degrees are immediately being placed less than 3 months. Okay, most of them are getting placed during the final year break, okay, before even getting their degree certificate, right? So that happens most of the times. Now, the other one is, you look at, there will be a 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs by 2020, and up from 1 million positions in 2014. That is a global number. Okay, so there will be a 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs globally. All right, every country needs cybersecurity professionals. Malaysia number, according to Cybersecurity Malaysia and MDEC, it actually hovers around 5,000 to 10,000 people is needed minimum to start with. Okay, there's a lot of opportunities for cybersecurity field in the industry in Malaysia. The similar situation in Singapore and all across this region. So you can come up with a very clear this where I want to go. Is my target job and my career for the next 3 to 5 years, is it going to be in this region or is it going to be out of this region? So depending upon which continent you want to go, if it's out of the region, you can then decide what is the numbers in that particular country. Australia is also in need of cybersecurity people. Australia has actually launched, before the MCO actually kicked in, before all this coronavirus started, or COVID-19 started, Australia has actually launched a 30 days fast track permanent resident visa. And one of the top categories, cybersecurity. Anyone who's in cybersecurity field is welcomed into Australia. They do a 30 days fast track visa, okay, which might take 6-8 months for normal track. They give you an approval within 30 days and you can move after 30 days immediately. So that's the kind of demand that you have in cybersecurity. The same thing in US, there's tons of requirements. UK, tons of requirements. Middle East is booming with cybersecurity requirements, right? So every part of the world is actually booming with cybersecurity requirements. Okay, now next slide. Okay, some interesting facts, right? Out of that 3.5 million opening expected by 2020, there are 2 million openings are in Asia Pacific region alone. and another 400,000 in Europe. But let's look at 2 million in Asia Pacific region alone. Let's think that when you're moving out from wherever you are into cybersecurity, initially the first 3 years you are going to work in this region. You're going to work in Malaysia or Singapore or Thailand or Indonesia, in this region. So let's look from that requirement alone. There are more than 2 million openings available in Asia Pacific region alone. Okay, and yeah, US has a total employed cybersecurity workforce consisting of around 715,000 people, and there are currently 314,000 unfilled positions, according to another stats from national statistics stuff. So everywhere there are requirements that is actually coming in, and there are huge openings available. If you look at LinkedIn's, if you look at job streets, after MCO, when the whole lot of people during MCO had problem in layoff and salary cut and everything, there's consistent flow of cyber security jobs. That is a clear indicator for you guys, right? Even when the scenario and things around us are bad, that is when you need more cybersecurity people, because that is when the attacks increase. According to Recorded Future, Trend Micro, and all kind of different institution statistics, 2,000% of increase, 2,000% increase in attacks in the last 4 months, guys, all over the world. So as the attacks increase, the cybersecurity requirement increases. As long as I told you earlier, right, as long as we keep on putting the cart in front of the horse, we keep on using technologies without understanding their pitfalls. As long as we are not putting security as part of design and keep on manufacturing IoT devices, cybersecurity field is gonna be there and is gonna become and will become an important aspect in any revolutions or transformations, right, in the field. Okay, HRDF came up with the Penjana scheme and all kind of things for Industry 4.0. You know what is the first pillar? Cybersecurity. Without cybersecurity, Industry 4.0 will fail. The government knows it. And everyone knows it, because if you're going to connect Industry 4.0, all kind of machineries, automations, and if you don't have security, that can be easily compromised. A few centimeter or few change in your bill of material is going to end up in a different product altogether. It might not look like a car there afterwards. Okay, so there's a huge potential for cybersecurity people in Industry 4.0, not only there, across the region, across the different cybersecurity arenas. What are the different arenas? We will see it in a short while. Next slide, Rachel. Okay, now reasons to consider cybersecurity field has continued. Unlimited growth, both in career and learning opportunities, right? See, in a security, when I say it's learning opportunities, every day there are new vulnerabilities being discovered. Every day there are new attacks. Every day there are new tools that comes out there, guys. Every day there are breaches that comes out in the dark web. As a cybersecurity professional, what is very, very much important? Let me put it very simple. Whether you're an IT guy or a non-IT guy, what is important is the passion. Passion to understand what is happening. Passion to keep learning all the new things as it happens. Passion to go look and search for new attacks and learn those methodologies. If you keep on doing this every day, spend 1 to 2 hours after your work in doing this. In 6 months, trust me guys, I've done it. It's a working formula. In 6 months, you will be a good cybersecurity consultant, because when you now talk to people, you will now talk with reference to the attacks. You will now talk with reference to the vulnerabilities. You will now talk how to mitigate and how to remediate. This is what people need to hear. The moment you start talking with the vulnerabilities perspective, risk perspective. How do you remediate? How do you mitigate? Where do you get all this information from? Reading all the new attacks, how the attacks happen, what are the vulnerabilities, how do you defend it? That's all you do. For new attacks, find tools and try it out in your house, in your own laptop or desktop. Spend 2 to 3 hours after work every day, minimum 1 hour, maximum 3 hours, not more than that, guys. Spend that much amount of time. Spend more time over your weekends. Do this for next 6 months. You will see yourself a transformed cybersecurity guy. That's all is the investment that you have to put. If you're not from IT background, you might find a little bit difficulty in understanding the jargons, the terms. So every time you hit a term or a jargon, go to Google and start reading about it. That will make your concepts more solid. Okay, so whether you're non-IT or IT, cybersecurity field is a best field to start with if you're looking for a change from wherever you are. Unlimited growth, as I have told you, every vector, every industry needs cybersecurity. Okay, so whether it's healthcare, whether it's banking, whether it's governments, whether it's manufacturing, whether it is service industry, every industry needs a common person called as cybersecurity. Okay, engineer or analyst or whoever. Okay, so it is a discipline by itself. It links to all other IT skills. So the more IT skills you have, it will be definitely easy for you. If you are non-IT, as I told you, you might have to do extra bit of work in Googling around and understanding the concepts, right? Again, for all of us who are willing to transform, we have formed a community. So you can be part of the community and you can use an online platform called as Kalam, K-A-L-A-M. Infotrek will give you the details. This particular platform is a cybersecurity collaboration platform where all of us can interact. We can work together. If you're stuck with something, you can put up and we can start a discussion forum on it. We can help you around on it. So we can actually help each other in a community to build this across, right? And this particular platform is supported by Cybersecurity Malaysia, MDEC, Ministry of Communications, okay, and Microsoft as actually is supporting this platform initiative. Trend Micro is supporting this platform initiative, and there are a lot of other companies, including Internet Initiative of Japan, a Japanese e-government also supports this platform. So it's a platform that has been used by multiple universities across this region and multiple companies as an internal, as an external, right? So we will create our own instance and we will create our own community around it so we can help each other. So if you're interested, we can actually immediately get onto it and we can help you through the process. The moment you sign up for any one of our courses, the courses comes with the access to Kalam. So you'll be able to then be part of the community there afterwards. Okay, so learning never stops. Massive opportunities. So let's stay engaged and we will be able to create an ecosystem that helps each other. Okay. So a lot of companies are actually having kind of like gray area or lacking in resources in forensic, in incident response, in application security. So these all are different job designations that you can look at. We'll talk about it later. Okay, next Rachel. Okay, so plenty of varieties. There are different combinations of technologies, situations, attacks, vulnerabilities, exploits, as I told you, right? So there is a chance to work directly with teams on technologies and things that you have never dreamt about. See, for example, if you took certified threat intel analyst certification from us, that will enable you, that will open up a whole lot of windows for you which you have never seen. You will be now able to see intelligent feeds, what kind of attacks that is happening in all over the world, in the dark web, in the deep web, in the surface web. The moment you start seeing different attacks, the hashes, the signatures, the patterns, you will now learn a lot of details about how an attack is. Who are all these threat actors? When people say China-backed hackers, who are these China-backed or China state-sponsored hackers? Who are the US state-sponsored hackers? Who are all these? Who is APT41? Who is APT25? So you'll be able to see a whole lot of different threat actors. You will be working with central banks. You'll be working with government agencies, telling them these are the attacks that is happening in this industry there. It might happen to our industry. Sorry, guys. Here are all the rules that you need to put in place to defend. So, and if you're working on SOC, if you're a SOC analyst and you're working in a security operations center, you will be seeing attacks happening live. You will be investigating live. You will be responding live to a security incident. Sorry, guys, give me a sec. Thank you, guys. Sorry about that. Live security incidents and security responses, which you might not be able to see today, is in your IT environment. So plenty of varieties. Okay, if you have done digital forensics or if you've done incident responses, then it'll be easier for you to go and handle incidents on the ground for your customers and for your organization. So there is a whole lot of variety that you can get out of cybersecurity field rather than a monotonous server administrator and you stuck over there for a very long time, right? So I'm not saying it's wrong, right? But again, there's a lot of, if you're a person who wants challenges every day and you get into your office, you like and you love actually working with new things, cybersecurity is the best field you can ask for, right? Next slide. Right, so some real impacts, some use cases, as you can see over here, guys. Yeah? Defending a pacemaker in an elderly patient, right? Or Equifax is a financial stuff. Now, what is this pacemaker? See, when I was talking about IoT devices, when I spoke about the bulbs, when I spoke about the refrigerators, these are all the devices that is there in our houses, can be easily hacked. Pacemaker is a small device that you keep in the heart for the heart patients to regulate the heartbeat so that they stay alive. Now, pacemakers had vulnerabilities. A pharmaceutical company called as Abbott, who I've actually heard about them, ABBOTT, Abbott. They are pharmaceuticals company. A lot of drugs comes out from them. They also manufacture pacemakers. So the pacemakers manufactured by Abbott had vulnerabilities in the firmware, which allowed hackers to remotely, if you're around in the vicinity of the victim, they can shut down the pacemaker, killing people. There are a couple of people got killed in America. FDA, the federal authority, investigated and they found out the attack was because abruptly the pacemaker was shut down. Then they found out that there is a vulnerability in the pacemaker that was manufactured by Abbott, that in a short distance, an attacker can be in the vicinity of the victim and they can run some commands and they can use some protocols to go and alter and switch off the pacemaker. So around 420,000 to 500,000 plus pacemakers were recalled back. That means people who had them have to go back to the hospital. They have to update their firmwares. Australia did the same thing. But in this part of the world, no one cares about it. Friends, a lot of people are having Abbott pacemakers with the firmware vulnerability still in their hearts. I don't see any announcement here in this part of the region. I don't see anyone being asked to come to the hospital for a firmware update. Right? I don't know, for whatever reasons, I leave that. Equifax, financial institutions. Financial institutions are hacked all the time. See, for example, I was part of the investigation when Bangladesh Central Bank was hacked and they lost $80 million US. guys, it's not 1 million, 2 million, 80 million US dollar was actually compromised and taken away from SWIFT money transfer system from Central Bank of Bangladesh. They tried 1 billion and they were able to go with 80 million. It's not that we defended and we protected and they lost and they weren't able to get all the 1 billion. The hackers did spelling mistake. If the hackers got their English correct, they would have gone away with 1 billion US dollar. It's been 4 years, right? It's February 2016 when it happened. It's been 4 years, my dear friends. No one has been arrested. Okay, investigations like this gives you a lot of learning across how the money moves in the chain where you can't trace back the money and you can't bring back the money. So there's a lot of challenging stuff that actually happens, and you can do a lot of real impact on the ground when it comes into hacking incidents and you go and handle it. There have been a lot of ransomware attacks that we are called in, a lot of malware attacks as it happens that we go in to go and actually help them out. So there's a lot of opportunities and positions available in a lot of companies around in Malaysia that we are aware of in the first place. So let's move on to the next slide, please. All right, so how to get started in a cybersecurity field is very simple, guys. As you can see it, you can actually take some courses. Okay. Hold on, guys, give me a sec. I'm actually opening up the same thing on my side. Okay, so you can actually take any technical courses, okay, which is what is our certification actual courses that we are talking about, or you can take college courses if you are a student still. You can still take any bachelor in cybersecurity that universities are giving, or if you're a current bachelor, you can also take masters in cybersecurity. So you can also go that way, or you can take this 3 days, 5 days courses. Join in our community. We'll give you a lot of practice sessions. We'll give you a lot of different labs to get going and doing. So you will learn from there. You can read a lot of things in the cybersecurity daily. This is what I was telling you earlier, right? Spend 3 hours a day to read a whole lot of things, understand the tools, practice it, kind of a scenario. Gain hands-on experience by working on projects, right? We are working with Infotrek together to give you that option. Okay, once you actually clear our examinations and you become certified, we will give you hands-on experiences. We will provide you freelance opportunity so you can actually work on real world pen test job as a freelance one. If you're currently working on somewhere but you have cleared our examinations, we will start giving you freelance projects where you can make money as well as you can learn. We work together as a team, so we build the community together. That's what I meant earlier too. So you can earn certifications, you can volunteer for opportunities if you want to. Join cybersecurity professional group. Column is one that I actually told you. So these are all a roadmap for a cybersecurity career. Start with a course that you're going to take as a certification course. Okay, if you're working, right? If you're studying, you can actually take a bachelor or a master's degree on it, right? It might take 2 years, 3 years before you come out. But if you're already in the workforce, a simple and fastest way to get yourself enrolled into cybersecurity career is enroll into our courses. We'll take you that step. We will teach you everything in that 3 to 5 days courses. Okay, I think most of the courses are 5 days courses. You will learn all technical. The 5 days courses are all 100% hands-on. So you will learn everything about it, and then also start reading. We will also give you a lot of resources that you can go and start reading. We'll give you all the URLs, which is where all the latest attacks comes in. The details of the technicalities are found, because if you start reading normal newspaper, you don't get the technical details, right? So you need to get the technical details in there. We'll give you all the URLs where you can find these technical details, right? And then we also help you to do freelance projects, pen test analysis, and so on and so forth, right? So whatever analysis that we are doing on the ground, I can give you those files for your analysis and ask you to submit those documents, and then we can help you through that document and say, no, this is wrongly written. This can be in the front, so that you learn, right? So that you can take it from a volunteer perspective, learning, right, in the community. and then keep improving, take more certifications, you will automatically be part of the cybersecurity field within less than 6 months. Okay, guys. So let's move on to the next slide, which is cybersecurity specialization. Okay, so here I'm going to actually talk about the courses. What are all the different courses? Who is the certification authority? How that certification authority comes about on board? Who all is backing this certification authority? And how you can be using these certifications on your day-to-day life. So that's what we are going to see in this cybersecurity specialization module. Okay, then after this we will get into Q&A. I've been collecting a few questions here, so I'll start answering those questions and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, next slide, Rachel. Okay, look at this wheel, guys. Okay, it's an interesting wheel. It actually summarizes a lot of things together. Okay, a lot of people will call you a red team, blue team, yellow team kind of a scenario, right? So look at this one. Let's start from the orange. Let's start from the orange, so it's very easier for you, right? So let's start from the orange. The orange team members are called are those who actually facilitate interaction and education, those who provide awareness, those who actually understand all the cybersecurity attacks and then provide awareness for people. They come under orange team. You interact with people, you facilitate people in making them to understand the different cybersecurity attacks. You create awareness for people. In a way, you're called as evangelist. Pretty much, you are an evangelist there. I wouldn't actually shorten yourself as a trainer, but you are actually going out and preaching about cybersecurity. There's a lot of scope of awareness trainers. If you are good in talking, right, guys, if you're good in talking, I have opportunities for you to be awareness trainers right away. Okay, see, for example, I'll give you an example. We are doing awareness talks for NTUC Singapore. You know what is NTUC, right? NTUC is a government arm in Singapore. We are providing awareness through NTUC Singapore for all the Singaporean citizens. Every month we run 15 classes for different per class there are 25 people. Okay, currently we are doing all actually virtual. As a trainer, do you want to know how much you get paid? You get paid around 2,000 ringgit a day. So that's the opportunity in the orange team. If you are good in articulating the concepts, you understand the different attacks, you are able to show demos on those attacks, then you get a very simple opportunity to be presenting for all these kind of opportunities. Right? For example, our company, Kapagam Education, we do awareness trainings for Singaporeans through NTUC Singapore. We provide trainings for all the company secretaries through SSM. SSM is a government agency here in Malaysia. We provide cybersecurity awareness trainings for all public listed companies using SIDC. SIDC is a training arm of Security Commissions of Malaysia. Okay, so SSM, which is a government agency through which we reach out to all company secretaries. Through SIDC, all public listed firms. Through another company called as iCliff. iCliff was a training arm of Bank Negara, now called as Asian School of Business, ASB. Through them to all banks, right? So we do a lot of awarenesses to a lot of public listed companies because it is mandatory for them to do awareness classes. As per the public listed as well as for the financial institutions, they need awareness classes, right? So there is a huge potential in the market for awareness classes. It's how you deliver it, because we deliver it in a storyboard format. we deliver in a stand-up comedy where a lot of jiggles and laughs go on because, hey guys, cybersecurity might be a little bit IT related, boring subjects for commoners, right? So the way you actually present it, the moment you are good at presentation, if you are interested, you have taken our certified security awareness user and certified pen test, then I can actually help you to become a awareness trainer in the market. Then you will be able to go and show how the attack is happening. You'll be able to articulate and you can deliver it. Per day, 1,500 to 2,000? I don't think so. It's bad. Even if you actually get 2,000 and if you're working for 15 days a month, you're already making 30,000 a month, my dear friends. Another 15 days, enjoy lah. Take a break. Every month you work only for 15 days. You make easily 20 to 30,000. So orange team is a possibility on the orange team. Now let's go to the red team. Offensive security, where you try breaking things. And now this is where penetration testing comes. Pen test is a process where you find the vulnerability and you exploit the vulnerability. It is offensive. You have to exploit. If you don't exploit, the pen test is not called as a pen test. A lot of people call as pen test, but they do only vulnerability scanning. They are actually not doing it correct. So red team is where you do offensive stuff. So certified penetration testing is a course that we have that teaches you on how to be offensive, on how do you do those pen tests, but safely exploit, not recklessly where you bring down systems and all of that, right? So you help people to do it properly. So it's called as pen testing. Okay. The same red team can also be used for SOC, Security Operations Center analyst, where you understand the attack. So it'll be easier. So you will be a red team as well as a blue team. Okay, so I will do the mapping in the next slide for you. Okay, so the red team are those guys who are offensive in nature in finding the vulnerabilities by attacking. Okay, right? So then you have someone called as purple team. Okay, integrating the defensive tactics, right? Integrating the defensive tactics with offensive results. Now, who are these people? These are the threat intelligence people, those who collect cyber threat intelligence, those who actually take all the logs from the attacks that has happened, look at the intelligence of the attacks that is happening all over the world and come up with results, right? So these can be cyber threat intel people, or the SOC operation people can also be a purple team because they're going to take all the defensive information or the attack, the offensive logs from the machines and then come up with how to defend it. Okay. Then you come with blue team. These are the defensive security, the defenders. So again, the SOC guys are called as defenders because they are going to actually defend an attack. Incident responders are also called as blue team defenders. Okay, your pen testers can also be a blue team defender because they are finding the problem with offensive with an intention to defend the attack from a real hacker. Make sense, guys? So these are all the people who are from the defense side who is with the intention to protect it. Now, the second thing that you see there is the green team and yellow team. This team is the people who are the coders, those who are creating the softwares. In general, the builders, the one who builds the software from where all the vulnerability comes, right? So these are the software programmers, right? Where we call them as secure coding professionals. So we convert you programmers into secure coding professionals so that you will be able to write codes in a more securely and you will be able to adhere to secure SDLC framework. Okay, so that's where the yellow team and the green team comes in. Now, if it is same, why two different? Okay, let me explain the difference. So the yellow team are the guys who actually code. The green team are the guys who actually test it. So the yellow team are the guys who actually code the codes, because according to Secure Software Development Lifecycle Framework, the one who codes should not be and must not be the one who's testing the code. Make sense, guys? Because if I am writing the code and I will not bang it hard for it to come out with the cracks, so someone else who's tasked with it will be able to find the problems in there, right? So that is where the yellow team is the coders, and the green team is the ones who actually come out and find the problems in the code and test it. Okay, so these are the different teams that is available generally around cybersecurity. Each of them will be linked to the respective job scope that they are doing. Now, who is this white team? White team are the analysts, managers, the senior level people who can actually worry about compliances, audits, regulations. Okay, so white team is the senior SOC managers are under white team. Your CTO, the chief technology officer, or your chief information security officer, they comes under white team, because they analyze, they go with the compliance. So if you are having a risk department or compliance department, they come under white team. So the management level, the risk, compliance, governance, audit. Okay, so all of them comes under the white team. Make sense, guys? So these are the different teams that is available, all colorful rainbow stuff, and each of them can be linked to a separate set of job responsibilities. Make sense, guys? Now let's go to the next screen. Okay, now our courses, which I have listed over here, the certified security aware course. So all of these courses are with Global ACE certification. You look on the slide, you will find that we have used the Ministry of Communication and Multimedia Malaysia's logo on it. You can't simply use a government logo, right? So Cybersecurity Malaysia with Ministry of Communication and Multimedia Malaysia has come up with a certification called as Global ACE certification. So I'll cover what is Global ACE certification in the next slide, but let me introduce the different courses that you have here. Okay, so the first course you have is Certified Security Aware User. This is for users to understand what are the different attacks that is happening and how to protect themselves. This is the awareness training that we conduct for all the people that I just now mentioned. Okay, through SSM, through SIDC, through ASB, through NTUC, through all kind of other different agencies and companies. So Certified Security Aware User is a content that is very, very simple, layman, no technical jargons, but it actually covers all the different latest attacks with 100% live demos. So you can learn from all of these hacking demos and how the hackers hack into your infrastructure, your computer and your information, and how do you protect yourself from all of these attacks. So that is what you learn in this 2 days course with HRDF claim. So all these can be a HRDF claim. HRDF is also working on grants. So we have submitted all of this with the letters from the respective agencies. So you will be getting those grants, and then you can actually apply for it and you can study from that grant too, right? If your company is HRDF contributing company for that matter. Okay, now Certified Security Aware User is a pure security awareness for all users. Don't have to be only IT. From any department they can take this. The second one is Certified Security Aware CXO. This is for management level people to understand how do they handle cyber security in their company. The moment they understand all the types of attacks and the way that they have to understand the risk, the governance, including cyber insurances. So they understand from a management perspective why cybersecurity is a management challenge, not an IT issue. Okay, so that they will actually learn in the Certified Security Aware CXO. That's a management level for anyone from manager and above. Manager, senior manager, VP, general manager, director, board member. So all of them can handle this Certified Security Aware CXO. So it's an orange and white team. Why orange? It is awareness. Why white team? They understand a lot of things about cyber security management. Okay, now the next one is Certified Secure Coding Professional. This one is under yellow and green team. Why? As I've explained you earlier, Secure Coding Professional will teach you how to write secure coding irrespective of your languages. So we don't teach you with respect to language specific syntaxes, which I think as a programmer you will know it. So what we will teach you is the techniques and concepts that you need to put in place in your codes so the codes become more secure. For example, the principles of secure development, that 8 principles that you saw, each one of them we will explain you how to safeguard in your code in your respective languages that you can go and implement. Right? We will also teach you how to test your codes. If you are a tester, then you can actually use that module to learn how to test your code using those security testing tools. So that's why the Certified Secure Coding Professional comes under yellow and green team. Now, the certified penetration testing that I spoke to you about, that's a 5 days course, full hands-on on how to find vulnerabilities and how to safely exploit these vulnerabilities so that you will be able to show to the customer how good or bad or moderate the current security posture is, and then tell them how to increase their current security posture to a better secure state. So all of that will be taught to you in that 5 days as a certified penetration tester. The next one is Certified Mobile Security Professionals. Now that's again under red and blue team. You can use it for offensive as well as for defensive. Okay, this is predominantly explaining you about all the different mobile specific vulnerabilities. The vulnerabilities in the mobile device, the vulnerabilities in the mobile applications, and how do you find it, and how do you exploit it, and how do you defend it. So this is another 5 days course that takes you both on Android and iOS. So it covers both for you. So you don't have to go separately another 5 days, 5 days. The 5 days will cover because most of the vulnerabilities are common in both Android and Apple. So you don't have to reiterate it again. So we clubbed it together. So you'll get the Certified Mobile Security Professional in 5 days where you can learn all these mobile security vulnerabilities, device level security vulnerabilities, as well as app level security vulnerabilities. So if you are a mobile coder, you will be actually also learning from Certified Secure Coding. You will also learn from Certified Mobile Security Professional. So if you are writing codes for mobile app, I would recommend you to take both Certified Secure Coding and Certified Mobile Security Professional. So if you want details on the contents, Infotech will be able to provide you on that. Then the last two is pretty much a 1-year-old certifications, whereas the others have been in the market for some time across the region. Okay, the Certified SOC Analyst is predominantly for you to work in Security Operations Center. Okay, so it's more of a blue and white team because in Security Operations Center you don't attack, you only respond to any attacks that is coming in. So it is more of a blue team guy, right? The certified SOC analysts are in demand because there are a lot of companies are having their own SOC in their offices. They are in short of people there, and there are a lot of SOC companies, the Security Operations Center companies like us, Vigilant Asia. We always need people. The right people with the right quality, right? So there's a lot of opportunities available in the SOC companies to be a SOC analyst. Okay, then the certified cyber threat intelligence is also becomes the a new requirement in a lot of financial organizations, because RMIT forces them to do threat intelligence about their company. So for someone to do threat intelligence, they need to know how to collect this intelligence and how to collate it, correlate it, and give it as an intelligence report. So that is what you will learn in the certified cyber threat intelligence analysis. So since you're doing analysis, you are generating reports for the management, and you are correlating the information and giving it to people. You also fall under white team, since you are actually finding the attacks, creating intelligence to stop further attack. You also come under blue team. Okay, guys, and you also fall under purple team. So the match of our courses across this different team is what you have just now seen. Rachel, can we move to the next slide? So what is Global ACE certification? Global ACE certification is a Cybersecurity Malaysia's initiative. Cybersecurity Malaysia is an agency under Ministry of Communications and Multimedia Malaysia. Okay, right? So Cybersecurity Malaysia is the technical outfit in Malaysia. They are the SWAT team for Malaysian government for cybersecurity. They are the ones who did a lot of investigations, and the investigation reports have been accepted as it is by FBI's and a whole lot of other international organizations. Cybersecurity Malaysia, with the effect for the last 10 years, Malaysia has become number 3 in cyber readiness in the world, according to economic forums, right? And the world organizations like ITUs and everything, they always commend the work of Cybersecurity Malaysia in Malaysia for the Malaysia's ratings to go up. So they are, if you want, they are unsung heroes. They are very quiet. They are technical people, 200+ people in Cybersecurity Malaysia. They work for the nation's defense and building all the stuff, rather than all the so-called as marketing campaigns and whole lot of TV shows. They are just the technical guys who get it done kind of people. So these are the people who have come up with this certification called as Global ACE certification. So that means Global Accredited Cybersecurity Education Certification Scheme. So that is what is called as Global ACE, comes from Accredited Cybersecurity Education, ACE, right? So they have come up with a whole lot of skill set aptitude requirement. They call it as a KSA. So they have come up with a whole lot of industry requirements. This requirement was created by the industry, not by Cybersecurity Malaysia. Industry companies like us and all the other cybersecurity companies, we sat together to create the requirement for these courses. Okay, so the requirement of the courses was created as a KSA, okay, knowledge, skills, aptitude or attitude, KSA. The KSA, then the courses are created based upon the KSA. Then Cybersecurity Malaysia will validate the content, the quality of the stuff, then they approve those courses. So there is a process. That process is called as ISO 17024 International Certification Body Process. So you can go and Google about ISO 17024. You will find a lot of information about that. So CSM follows that, and they are ISO 17024 certified international certification body. There's only 5 in the whole world. Okay, and CSM is one of them, right? And this Global ACE certification is one of them in the industry. The others are SANS, ISC Squared, EC Council, and there's 1 or 2 more others. I think 1 more other, and then it is Global ACE across stuff. So this is a Malaysian certification by the initiative of Malaysian government through Cybersecurity Malaysia. This certification is accredited and accepted by all the Organization of Islamic Cooperation member countries. That's around 64 countries in the world. And all the ASEAN countries over here has accepted and accredited this certification that has been issued by Global ACE. Okay, so if you are gonna actually move to cybersecurity, or if you are existing cybersecurity, you want to take these courses, the first question is where are you going to work? If you're working in any of these OIC countries and the ASEAN countries, the certificate is valid and recognized. Simple, right? So as more and more countries are actually going to become the partners, this will be more and more globally recognized across. They are doing a lot of marketing effort from this year onwards so that public and everyone knows about this global ACE certification in the market. Okay, and Malaysian Board of Technologies have come out with an ACTA, ACTA number 768 MBOT. MBOT recognizes global ACE certification as a pathway to get you professional technologist. TS, you can put technology specialist, TS in front of your name. If you have actually cleared one of our certification courses, which is either of the certified, all the 5-day courses, not the awareness courses, okay? All the 5 days courses, whether certified pen test or certified mobile security or certified SOC or certified threat intel analyst, if you clear any of these, right, and you are having IT experience, you will be able to apply to Malaysian Board of Technologies and they will confer you a technology specialist or professional technologist badge. Then you can use in front of your name TS. Okay, in 2017, Malaysian Board of Technologies added cybersecurity as one of their primary pillars, and thereafterwards they have recognized global ACE certification as one of their, or actually the only way in getting the technology specialist. Otherwise you have to prove a lot of things and there's a lot of documentation and you will have multiple interviews for them to shortlist you to whether to give you a TS or not, right? So this will be the easiest certification pathway for you to get a TS in front of your name, technology specialist or professional technologist. Right, now the global ACE certification is also recognized worldwide with the ITU, okay, World Summit on Information Society 2020 announced it as a champion under the category 5 of building confidence in use of ICT. So under one of the major category 5, the ITU's World Summit gave the award to Global ACE certification as a champion in the category 5 across the world. Not only Malaysia, guys, this is across the world. So Global ACE certification is now going across the world, equivalent to all these privately owned certification bodies who have been actually charging us 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, which every one of us cannot afford. And there are few certifications, I don't want to mention them, they don't even run it in Malaysia. You have to go to Singapore or Bali, right? So now you have a global ACE certification scheme that is from Government of Malaysia, created by Cybersecurity Malaysia, acknowledged and designed together with industry partners, approved and accredited by all the OIC countries, ASEAN countries, and now world organizations like ITUs. And internally, you get the Malaysian Board of Technologies attesting to it, HRDF recognizing it as a certification body. Okay, so HRDF recognizes it as a certification body, and all the different agencies are now making it as a requirement that the respective people that they are gonna open for job opportunities, they're going to ask for global ACE certification. So it is now spreading across in Malaysia, and it is now spreading as well as in the region. And then all the OIC countries have taken it as part of their certification. So there is an OIC cert, the Computer Emergency Response Team. The OIC cert has taken this as their initiative. The Global ACE was launched in Middle East, actually, in the OIC cert conference, which has all the 64 countries present. So all of them have started to create country chapters in their respective countries to run global ACE certification. Why am I explaining this so much is because you might not have heard about global ACE certification. Hence, it is an introductory to tell you guys there is a lot of work that Cybersecurity Malaysia has done, and there's a huge recognition for Global ACE certification, including the ITU's Champion Award given for Global ACE under Category 5, which is a very, very big thing. And none of the countries across this region has won this award before. It's a first time, and there's a very good effort by Cybersecurity Malaysia, and we now have a Global ACE certification scheme that is ISO 17024. So all the courses that I told you earlier, all of that courses comes under this certification, and you have examination done by Cybersecurity Examination Center. So you will be going to CSM's office examination center in Cyberjaya to take the exam for all the 5 days courses. The awareness course, you don't have to go to their exam center. You can take it online wherever you are, and you will get the certificate. Okay, so for the security awareness course, which is a certified security aware user and certified security aware CXO, you don't have to go to Cybersecurity Malaysia's examination center. You can take that exam online from wherever you are, because it's an awareness. When it comes to professional certifications like certified penetration tester, certified mobile security professional, certified SOC analyst, certified cyber threat intel analyst, all of them is a professional certification. So you need to take the exam in the examination center. So the questions are being set by industry people across the region. Okay, and so as a course provider, even I don't know the questions. So that is how clear they actually maintain the professionalism. So they use industry specialists across the region to come up with the questions, and you need to go into the examination center to take it. And once you pass, you'll be able to get the Global ACE certification. Right? It's not very difficult to pass as long as you have actually done all the exercises in the class. You'll be able to pass easily. So this is a roadmap that we are putting in place for you to move from wherever you are, from a current IT to a cybersecurity, or whether you are from a different department altogether, or from different background, but you're ready to jump into cybersecurity, then you have all of this in place. You can now decide whether you want to become a certified pen tester. If you want to become a consultant, for example, you want to become a cybersecurity consultant in the next 3 years or 5 years or 3 years, let's take a 3 years roadmap. If you want to become a cybersecurity consultant in the next 3 years, then you can take multiple of these courses. Take certified pen testing. That'll open up everything about different types of hacking and how to do it. Okay, so you will now know offensive and defensive. So a certified pen test will show you how to actually compromise and defend a network, how to compromise and defend an application, how to compromise and defend a mobile. So once you learn those 3 things, then you go and add up if you want a mobile security professional onto it. Now you will know end to end about network security, web application security, and mobile security. You are considered as a consultant there afterwards to go and tell people what to do. Right, so if you are an IT person, you can directly jump into this certified pen test and certified mobile security professional. Both together will give you that consultation kind of a consultant kind of a badge, where you can then go and tell people what do and what not to do. Now, if you're looking at be a trainer, if you're going to look at as an awareness trainer, then you can actually take the certified pen test and the certified security aware user. Both will give you the needed stuff to become an awareness trainer. All right, but if you have taken certified pen test or each of those professional courses and you're good in articulating it, you can also be a trainer for all of that, because there is a huge demand in the market for all these trainings and the trainers. Okay, so you can become the trainers for all of that too later for that. Okay, now, so if you're getting into SOC, if you're getting into SOC related, okay, or incident response related, then you can actually take the certified SOC analyst, which will teach you about all the latest attacks, how all the different technologies that are used in Security Operations Center. Okay, it can actually teach you a lot about the Security Operations Center technologies, how to use it with demos and hands-on, which will also teach you about incident response and how do you handle it. So all of that will be taught under SOC analyst. So you can actually take the SOC analyst over there, but if you have taken pen test, it will definitely help you to be a SOC analyst because you know how to do offensive, because SOC analyst is more of defensive. So SOC analyst is actually defensive, pen test is offensive. So you club pen test and SOC analyst, you will become a red and blue team together that gives you options with respect to the designations that you can apply for. Right now you go on a cyber threat intel, that's a different nature altogether. A lot of people are looking at cyber threat intel. You can be in the SOC as well as in a different department called as threat intelligence department. Okay, guys, for both SOC and cyber threat intelligence, where you are a defender, if you have an offensive pen test, skill set, it will definitely help you a long way in finding the attacks in the SOC and threat intel. So the pen test, SOC and threat intel can go as a bundle for you, and then you can actually learn the end-to-end about the cybersecurity from a pen testing, from a SOC, from a threat intel. That will open up for you all kinds of different job description, whether it's a security consultant, security analyst, SOC analyst, threat intel analyst, cybersecurity consultant, cybersecurity advisor. So all these kind of designations gets opened up once you do the 3 courses, which is pen test, SOC and threat intel analyst, guys. So that is how you move from your current IT to into cybersecurity. Okay. This is a simple sample of how the certification will look like. Right, it's a global ACE certification. So that's how it actually looks like, with an hot stamped emblem on the right hand bottom. Will be signed by Dr. Haji Amiruddin, who is the chairman of the International Certification Board under Global ACE, and he is also the CEO of Cybersecurity Malaysia. Okay, so that is how the certificate looks like, guys. This actually comes to the end of your transition. We have another 1 hour where we can actually talk about all the different questions that you might have and the answers that I can provide all across. Okay.